Welcome back to SwitchCorner. My name is Alex and today we're taking a look at Subnautica on the Nintendo Switch, a well-respected survival sim. Can it do enough to earn your cash? And is it good enough to be crowned the best survival on the Switch? Well, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and let's get started. So story and Subnautica has actually been out on other platforms a while now, so I'm going to keep it relatively simple and moving quick with this video just to get to my opinion on this Switch build. But the story I've always enjoyed. I experienced it originally on the PC, and the premise overall is simple. You've crash landed on an alien ocean planet in your escape pod, and now you must explore in the hope of survival, whether that's, rescue or simply trying to escape. The game's got this good balance of giving you story, pushing things forward relatively quickly, but there's a lot more around this world you can use to kind of dig into your character and life prior to the accident. Things like other pods and just general information you can find around the world. Gonna avoid most of that for spoilers, but do know the story is very good. So gameplay on Subnautica is a first-person survival experience that finds you with full 360-degree movement thanks to, of course, its ocean setting, something that immediately separates itself from its competition outside of maybe Breath Edge. On crash landing though, the ocean is welcoming and, quite honestly, just stunningly animated, but do not let that fool you because Subnautica in an instant can turn on you, the tension can mount, and the ocean then becomes something that should be feared. That's by far Subnautica's biggest success for me, its ability to entice you in, pull you in to want to investigate each and every inch of this ocean bed, no matter how terrifying that scenario can be, especially when you factor in the day and night cycle as well. The nighttime is something you must absolutely see, do not avoid it, but I will say be just that little bit more careful. With 4 game modes on offer, those survivalist standard, shall we say, where you manage hunger and thirst and oxygen, but if you do die, you do respawn. You'll lose some of your inventory, but still not permadeath, so definitely a little bit easier. Freedom removes hunger and thirst entirely. Hardcore is the permadeath mode, and that's definitely by far, going to be the most challenging. And then there's one called creative, which removes basically everything, oxygen, food. It's just all about kind of free roaming. It even removes story. Controls also at this point, it's worth noting, are solid and they can be customized freely from the main menu. That is always a nice touch. On that note though, for those that are interested, sadly no gyro controls here, which I know some of you would have been hoping for. The gameplay here then really comes down to survive this harsh new world, gather food, resources, craft and construct, and it's just absolutely addictive. Starting the game, you're handed maybe a couple of rations of water and food, and that is it. The game gives you near to no guidance, as is kind of traditional with the genre, and tells you to get on your way. Fortunately, there are some guides found within your PDA which can be accessed over the tap of the back button, and that's well worth a look as it contains some basic guides and kind of a breakdown of the items that can be found around this world. So I would say invest like 20-30 minutes in just reading through this and getting to grips with kind of what this world is all about. That loop though of gathering resources, as I said, addictive as ever. Your first stop needs to be a hand scanner. This will allow you to scan wreckage in the world, which in turn allows you to build more. Essential not only for things like vehicles, which are absolutely amazing fun, but also for base building. Subnautica actually pays a particularly big focus to base building, and it's great fun creating these underwater habitats. This resource collection though again can be terrifying because it can be the difference between life and death. Those moments you're running out of water, running out of food, and you're desperately fighting just to find something that can basically sustain your life. I think the crafting though has to be my favourite part of what Subnautica does. The limited build options lead you to want to explore and scan different items found within the world so you can start building them. And it also never gets overly complicated. It never slows down the pace of the story it's trying to tell. It gives you, a list, you go get it, and then you are rewarded. Few moments in a game will match that first moment you get your sea moth. That's the first kind of vehicle in Subnautica, or at least the first one you can sit in. It's not only a blast to control, but it's just a culmination of your hard work and survival paying off, and it's extremely rewarding. Also, the oxygen you manage, the further you get, the deeper you can dive, the less intimidating those initially shallow waters become. It's got this fantastic grip on a sense of progression, whether that's your own kind of mentality against the ocean or what it's rewarding you with. As I said though, look, I want to keep this high level and I have very few complaints with the game. Its flaws for some will be by design, little guidance, no hand holding. that is exactly what we want, honestly. This game has come a long way since its initial PC release, and this is just a culmination of effort not only on the devs' part, but also a very active community that has continued to support it and give feedback. And a lot of the features you see actually started originally as like mods to the game. One thing I want to praise in particular on loading into the game as well, they literally tell you, see bugs or issues, tell us here. And I respect that. They know occasionally you might have some issues and they are open ears to it. Overall, for gameplay, Subnautica is as incredible now as it ever was, and it's pretty incredible, honestly, playing it on the Switch docked or handheld. Didn't really know how it would translate to the palm of my hand, but for gameplay, it is seriously impressive. I'm happy to recommend it if you play either way. Also, I don't want to go into too much detail, but docked or handheld, the Leviathans, they are scary as ever, and there was a few moments where they unintentionally got me with a few jump scares. Especially the Ghost Leviathan. I just wanted to get to land and that one just kept on screwing me over and over again. So performance wise, we have 30 frames per second for the most part for the gameplay. It's not perfect, however, and as larger structures appear in the water, or particularly if you go deeper or get onto land, you can expect it to drop to right around the 25 mark. Honestly, that's a hell of a lot better than I expected from this one. It's a huge world, so I think they did what they could, and even though it breaks the immersion just a tiny bit, in the end I didn't care because I was running away from, a Leviathan on a tiny screen in my hands, and that's something I never thought I would get to say. Graphics then, and first off, the water effects are hands down the best I have ever seen on the Nintendo Switch. Emerging from your escape pod for the first time and looking over the landscape for the first time, it is a sight to behold because, you've got this big wreckage in the background, the water is moving, it's just incredibly alive. Now sure, they dialed back the lighting a bit here, that is a guarantee, but look, it didn't harm that wow factor. Underwater then can be just as impressive with a decent amount of detail from the local wildlife to reefs to twisting caves and caverns. Again here though, texture detail and even density of rock formations pulled back it seems, but it screams also we put effort into making this the best possible experience on the Nintendo Switch, and this is what we had to do. Where are the issues though? There's a couple, but the main ones here, it has to be textures can be super low detail at times. For example, the initial pod you land in, immediately that is apparent from a storage locker that has a logo on it. That logo here is basically a blur of pixels, and all it really is a circle with a cross through it. That's kind of throughout the world, honestly, when you get up, close and personal with some of the less important objects. But the big one, it has to be popping. I am talking wildlife, and some not so friendly wildlife can pop in right ahead of you. Full underwater structures appear and rocks will literally be growing ahead of you. It is jarring initially. The game has always suffered from popping on any platform, but it's no doubt at its worst and most obvious here. They try to use some fogging techniques to hide it, but it rarely works, honestly, and you just need to know, for a beginner, this actually makes the game quite a bit more challenging on the Switch than any other platform. It's going to push you to explore more, to get more up close with objects and areas, and yeah, that's not always a positive thing when there's some definite, intimidating creatures, shall we say, out there waiting for you. Audio finally, and incredible. The music is just stunning, with it hitting all the high notes of positivity and hope to almost horror as aggressive locals surround you. It's a stunning score. It brings the world to life and it can change the mood in a split second. Where the game truly excels though, it's the sound design, the effects that can change in a moment, again from serene and peaceful with, this kind of muffled underwater tone that is very cool to absolute terror as a larger than life aquatic creature approaches and starts making a few, noises. The sound of Leviathans is truly something to be heard and feared, and it will not disappoint. If you like your audio in games though, this one, it needs to be experienced, and yeah, I would say stick a pair of headphones in. It's an absolute highlight, and it's a perfect example of how you use audio for immersion. So the final verdict, and Subnautica has always been incredibly well respected, and for me I was excited for this Switch build but also nervous. Subnautica historically has released on platforms and not in the best of shape. I'm happy to say here though, while yes it does have its problems, you know, mainly visual, this is a must-play title for survival fans out there, and I think this build actually does the game justice. Like I said though, like for sure problems, the frame rate can drop as you approach more complicated locations, just slightly though, nothing too major, but then the pop-in, that can be aggressive and immersion breaking at points. I mean, it actually makes the game a harder experience, which is definitely kind of an interesting starting place for many Switch players. You know what though, these won't be the things you remember from the game. What you'll remember is building that first sea moth, diving in that little bit deeper to the water and emerging with just 1% oxygen remaining, and then just the countless discoveries, including those first few interactions with Leviathans. They rarely lose their wow factor. A great 8 out of 10 from me. You're gonna need to be forgiving of its drawbacks to get onto the Switch, but this is easily worth the add to the library and can stand proudly alongside my personal favourite on the Nintendo Switch, which is A Long Dark. Will you be adding this one to the library though, or will you be holding onto that cash? How do we all feel about, you know, the compromises that have been made to get this one kind of, I guess, just up and running? I wish it wasn't the case, but the trade-off of Subnautica in my hands, you know, that is absolutely worth it. With that, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the video description down below. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.